Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Radical Geek live stream. Happy Sunday. So, it's been a busy weekend. Let's see who has called in or, well, logged on, I guess, not called. It's not the 80s no more. Let's see. Carrie, who's here. Hungry Heath. Oh, and having dinner. So, I'd like to hear what the Warden and Hungry Heath are having. They always have great recipes. Air Frying Auntie, our awesome moderator. Let's see. And of course, Attila, our other awesome moderator. Tutu Cat, hey, good evening. And Rocky Mountain Girl, hey, good to see you. Let's see. Just Jen, hey, oh, from the airport. I was going to ask if you were home already. I thought that was fast. And Visual Keto, hey. And nice, let's see. Oh, and Renee is here. So, oh, and Mike. Hey, good evening, Mike. So, let's see. And Hoofing It, and Marion, and Gigi's here. Great. So, I have this packet. This is the, I said mandarin orange peel, but technically it's tangerine peel. So, I am gonna, it's a Shumei tea. And I'm going to just open this up. They come in these packets. They're usually, sometimes they're bigger packets because they have 3 bricks in it. Sometimes you can get them pressed in little circles. But I wanted to show you this and get it going so that we can talk about the pancake. Of course, I just broke a little. So this tea comes in this little brick. I'm going to bring it up close to the camera so that you can see the little orange peel in there. Hang tight. I'm having trouble balancing. Let's see. There you go. So you can see the orange peel mixed right into the tea. And it's put in a brick like that while it's fresh picked, and the peel, the zest is freshly done. They compress it all before they dry it and cure it. So we're going to take that. I'm going to just break it up a little bit here into my container. We're using the big pot. I'm throwing tea everywhere, of course. Why not? Catch my little leaves. And as per usual, when we have good tea, let's see, you need to go ahead and give it, I'm going to call it a wash, which is just a quick run through of the water. This kind of loosens the brick up a little bit more and gives it a little bit of time to expand. It doesn't grow quite as much as the last tea that we had, but it does definitely break up a bit, and you definitely want that. So, oh, and Carrie says we can make tea houses with the tea bricks. So maybe a very small one. That might be interesting for like a holiday party if you manage to get it together. So you would have to use a sweetener though to get some kind of glue for it. This is one of those teas too where in addition to that you want to use the very hot water, whereas most teas you do not. But because it's been so compressed, and you can see it has a very nice little mild color. It is a goldeny, but it's a white tea. And as per usual, you discard that first bit. So we're just gonna let my water, oh, it's already ready. I want to get the tea brewing and then we can talk about it and make the pancake because I'm really hungry. So why don't you guys tell me what you all did this weekend? I know Jen went to Utah and went to the KetOH-IO meetup when Two Crazy Ketos was there. And literally that's everything to making this tea. Boom. See, Carrie says he has 9 more days and he'll be 1 year and 1 month on his no coffee or caffeine journey. So now we just set that aside. It can go for like 3 or 4 minutes. So the Shumei tea is a white tea. And what makes Shumei different from maybe other white teas or oolongs is that instead of buds, it is from the canela tree, like some of the other teas we've talked about. It's upper leaves mostly, upper leaves and tips. So whereas a lot of white tea is also exclusively tips, it's less tips and more of the upper leaves. It's also a late harvest. So whereas most white teas are picked really early in the season, Shumei White Tea is picked late in the season. This makes it a bit of a stronger, slightly funkier flavor. Sometimes almost a little bit oolongish in flavor. It's also not quite as clear as other white teas and does tend to get a little bit of that yellow to it. So that's like a lot of the other Chinese teas that we've had, it is from the Fujian region. So they just that's the place to go if you want teas. So let's see what we've got here in the chat. Let's see. Woo. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Renee's not gonna lie. Since Friday evening. Oh, that said physical tourist, not physical torturous. That's that physical therapist references. Let's see. Just mostly hellos back and forth. Let's see. Oh, Carrie, if you get mad, then you would be teed off. You know, I got really angry last week over something really dumb, but I was totally over it really quick. Let's see. The warden said for dinner they basted ribeyes in herbs and butter in the cast iron, served with goat cheese stuffed mushrooms, and jalapenos topped with pepperoni. Ooh, wow, pepperoni. I hadn't thought to do that. That sounds really good. Oh, and avocado crema. Ooh, that's a great recipe. We should one of our channels should make avocado crema for a quick one-off video. So let's see. Oh, and Mike went thrifting. Found a couple good deals to resale. Ooh, I like that. Oh, but you go thrifting in my area. I need to post a picture again of the Wexford glass that I like because it shows up periodically in our area, and that way keep your eyes out in there and pick it up. Although no more cigar tray or no more ashtrays because a good friend of mine has found like 4 of them for us, so we are all full up on Wexford cut glass ashtrays. So let's see. Oh, and Air Fry Nanny says on Friday she got her hair mostly all cut off, and now you have to figure out how to style curly hair. Oh yeah, curly hair is such a hard thing to do. I don't know enough about it to give any kind of advice on that. That's definitely outside my cue, but I know several people with curly hair, and they've given me some advice to try to pass on to Attila, who let his hair grow out, only for me to discover that after like 20 years of knowing him, he has curly hair. So I thought that was pretty wild. Let's see. Oh, and Just Jen says their weekend was really amazing. They got to see a lot of people, hang out, and met a new keto doctor. Oh, Brian Lenskys. And he has 2 channels. Oh, I'll have to look that up. I feel like he's come up in my feed periodically, and I might have watched 1 or 2 videos. But, you know, there's a lot of videos, and I tend to like things that are slightly more social. No real reason, just because I get inundated with a lot of information overload sometimes. And Hoofinit says that the Caboodles had a day of rest because they've both been sick and are now on the mend and hitting that tired phase during healing. So, oh, but they did get in a test paddle in the new kayak. Ooh, that sounds exciting. I have not been kayaking. I've thought about it periodically, but I don't know. I just never quite actually managed to pull off getting out there. Happy Sunday to you too, Susie. And oh, and Susie says that Dr. Linsky seems like a really nice person. That she met him and Dr. Tro on the Low Carb MD channel. Oh. Okay, yeah, then I've definitely seen them because they all sound familiar, and I know I've watched Low Carb MD before. Let's see. Hey, Rickwin, welcome to Sunday night. And of course, oh, and 22Q Cat says we are, as a reminder that we're looking forward to the Warden Report. Absolutely. You know what? I love the Warden Report. It's like one of my favorite highlights of the week. So let's see. Oh, Visual Keto says she's given away so much Wexford, including canisters. Ooh, the canisters are hard to find. Don't give those away. You should sell those. They go for big bucks. The other thing that are hard to get in Wexford is the dinner plates. There are a lot of the medium dinner plates. The full-size dinner plates are super hard to find because, well, people use them, so a lot of them, they got broken, so they're not as plentiful. So, but yeah, I don't know. I really dig the Wexford glass. I have no idea why. It's probably because I like a lot of very tacky things, and Wexford cut is super tacky. It just screams the 70s to me 100%. So, all right, I'm going to take my leaves out. You don't want to oversteep. And so it went from that one little brick to filling up about half the filter. For a minute, I couldn't remember the word filter. Let's see. I see a little bit of scrolling by. Let's see. Oh, Hungry Heath is finished eating and ready to mingle. We'll have to watch out for that. But here's our tea. Wow. So one of the things about the orange peel in the Shumei White Tea is the aroma. It is amazing. Like all the way over here, the steam wafted out and my whole area has a beautiful orangey sort of smell. Whoa, it just like really blows you away. That's one of the pleasures of the Shumei tea. So we'll just pour that off. Of course, it has to rest a little bit and cool down to be a drinking temperature. But you can see it has a golden color. It's not clear like white tea can often be, but it's also not so dark. It's not oolong dark or black tea dark. And the Shumei is very similar in coloration to a lot of green teas. And Carrie thinks I need a bigger teapot. I think this is probably good. The other nice thing is this is a fantastic iced tea. Yes, I know. The cardinal sin of really good teas, icing it down. But I love it. Delightful. So it's too hot for me to take a sip, but I promise you I will. Other thing about white tea. Oftentimes people say it has no caffeine. It most certainly does. All tea has caffeine. A herbal tea, as we call it in the United States, is not tea. It's an herbal infusion, so those don't necessarily have caffeine, although some do. If it's herbs mixed with tea, then it does. All tea has caffeine. Even decaffeinated tea has some level of caffeine in it. Just like decaf coffee is not 100% decaffeinated. They've just taken as much of it out as possible by processing it. So, but absolutely, white teas have as much caffeine as all of the other teas. And Carrie says darn teas because they're delicious, but he can't have them because he's caffeine sensitive. So, and Hoofinette says she loves citrus kiss teas. But Carrie, you can watch everyone drink their tea. You know what? We'll do some herbal infusions for you. I know that sometimes that's maybe disagreeable for you, but we can do. I have one that's like a basil thyme that is delightful, and a lavender lemon verbena. So those are two teas that you could have because they're not teas; they're herbal infusions. I couldn't resist. So let's see. But it was too hot and it definitely burned my tongue. Lisa says oolong is one of her favorites, so they're going to be serving a buckwheat tea at the New Year's party next month. Is that real tea? She loves the flavor. So buckwheat tea is, I don't know. I would have to look it up. I'm not 100%. Oh, and Hoofnet says she also ices her tea. Oh, well, I love that. So, also, I'm starving. I'll explain why in a little bit. So let's get these pancakes started. I have 3 large eggs. And we just put those in the bowl. Throw that right into my dishwasher. And it's important that we beat the eggs up first because it's a coconut flour based, and that becomes very hard to incorporate with eggs that are not already pre-beaten. Coconut flour is defatted, so it really benefits from things like eggs and other fatty substances. Also, because of how much moisture they absorb, that helps keep it from becoming dry as the desert. However, be aware, when you make recipes with coconut flour, be mindful of the texture, because if you don't include enough fluid, it will be dry as the desert. And that is something that's why I believe a lot of people don't like coconut flour recipes, because they do come out dry and crumbly, and it's so easy. Oh, and Air Frying Auntie is sharing what she revealed on the Hungry Heath's Friday Night Feast, that she found the maple espresso black tea blend at Trader Joe's. She says it's not sweet, but it's a really great flavor. So, duly noted. Oh, Carrie's making more jokes. I love all of Carrie's fun jokes. And Mike Sandy is asking a tea question. He's asking if there's a difference in steeping time between the Brix tea from last weekend, the fermented tea. Yes, that was a pu'er tea, and tea bags. So I don't use tea bags because most of the time, tea bagged, if it's pre-made tea bag tea, it's often ground tea remnants. So that tea is usually of a, it's the end, so it will brew much more quickly. If you have like just your standard Lipton tea or like red rose tea, which by the way, we'll totally drink them, but not, those are like emergency tea, and this is enjoyment tea. I don't know, you know, sort of like pre-ground coffee is your I need coffee and in large quantities. That's how I look at tea bag tea. It's what you drink for like everyday drinking, because you don't want to pay like, you know, $8 for something that you just need to slug down because you need the pick-me-up. So so there we go. Our eggs are all beaten up. There are differences in steeping times. This one in particular, because it's a white tea, but it's a late white tea, and it was a compressed brick tea. I do brew it for 3 to 4 minutes. You can brew it a little bit longer if it's to your taste, or you can brew it a little bit less, but probably not too much because you need that flavor to develop. But as you can see, as it's rested, even as we sit here and watch, you see that the golden color is pulling forward, and it's not steeping at all. If you've got tea bags with a more powdery tea in it, those actually need way less steeping time. I know that they say like leave it like 3 to 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes. That's crazy. That's why people don't like it. Is because that's why it gets real bitter. It literally, it does not even need the wash because of how powdery it is. It literally needs to be put in to a slightly lower temperature. That's the ones you want to do at like 185 to 190, and you just need it in there for a couple minutes, and then give it a little bit of agitation, and then pull it out. That's the other mistake people make with tea bag tea, is that they just leave it in there and they never take it out until they're discarding everything all at once. So it sits in the water for like, you know, half an hour, and then the tea just gets stronger and more bitter. I'm off my high horse now for a minute. There's your tea lesson. Aren't you so glad you asked a question? You just push the button. Anyways, beaten eggs. Oh, my butter solidified again. It's still really soft. Okay, so you would use a melted butter. This butter is cooled, but it's still like super soft. It's more like a jellified butter. I'm going to go ahead and use it. I don't have an issue with that. Melted and maybe cooled just a little bit too longer. You don't want it to be hot because you're putting it in eggs. Coconut milk, not the kind from the can. This is a carton. I actually use Simple Truth organic unsweetened coconut milk. You can use almond milk if that's what your preference is. I just like coconut milk, and if I'm going to make a pancake using coconut flour, I'm going all in. The half a scoop or 5 grams of unflavored gelatin. Let's see. Oh, and Carrie says tea bags can often have chemicals in them as well. Yeah, I don't really worry about that too much. I think, but they do. You're right. By that time, because of insects and stuff, they have sometimes started using pesticides on the leaves in order to elongate their lifespan. So it is better when you have full leaf stuff. So there's that. Some vanilla. I put a measurement, 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Use your judgment and know your vanilla and to taste. Now, also, I use salted butter. If you use unsalted butter, give a couple grinds of salt into your mix. I'm going to give this a quick start at mixing it before I add in my coconut flour. I might need to, by the way, sometimes I need to break out the blender. I got it and set it up here just in case, my immersion stick blender, if things don't want to come together. Here's the thing. It also has an entire teaspoon, yes, an entire teaspoon of baking powder. It's super important because coconut flour is very high in fiber and needs the lifting. Let's see. Oh, Carrie says when he was drinking coffee and needed a hit, he would just put espresso powder in water. But obviously he doesn't do that anymore. Right, well, obviously, you know, that was probably a contributor to, you know, the issues you were having as well. And Air Fried Annie says she's guilty of always leaving the tea bags in. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are. And it's not like necessarily like, oh, it's bad. But no, it does impact the quality of the tea you are drinking. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and get my coconut flour in here. And it's just 1/4 cup. And we're going to mix that in. Sometimes I've added too much liquid and I will have to add a little bit more coconut flour or adjust it. Sometimes I've not added enough liquid and I have to go the other direction and add more coconut milk. So you just kind of have to go by feel a little bit because these kind of mixes are impacted by the humidity and the weather. And I can see that my batter is very lumpy, so I apologize, but I believe we probably are going to wind up, well, having to use the hand, well, I don't know, let me give it a good hard, mash at these lumps with my spatula. You know, I hate when I had to use the blender on there. I know that it is obnoxious on the microphones, so I try not to blend if we don't have to. And it doesn't really hurt me to use my arm at all. Oh, it's fine now. Okay, that's working out. The important thing too is that we do need to let this sit for a couple seconds before we start throwing it down on the griddle, because you want to make sure that the coconut flour has time to absorb what it's going to absorb and for the baking powder and all of that stuff to sort of meld together. The other thing I wanted to tell you, like, this is not a liquidy sort of batter. If it's like regular pancake batter, which gets real thin, it's not that. This is a scoopable sort of pancakey batter. By the way, this is untested. I'm throwing shit together and just going off my knowledge, so also it could fail. I love taking these high risk things, but I like coconut flour. I wanted pancakes. I didn't want to use an almond flour recipe. So I sort of looked at some of the mixes and I did some conversion on almond flour to coconut flour. I added some techniques that I've learned from making waffles, and so here we are. So, but when you make coconut flour stuff, know that and I saw a little lump in here. Let me mush that out. But yeah, you can see this is a scoop, not a pour. And that's the same thing like when we make like waffles and stuff. I think I've mentioned that before. If your batter is pourable, then you have a high chance of it not being that successful. The primary difference being is when we make these stufflers with the whey protein. So, all right. Let's see what we've got in here. Oh, and Hunger He says the blender noise bothers me more than others. And Rocky Mountain Girl says she uses her tea bags twice. Hey, that is actually totally okay. Take your tea bag out and set it on a little dish. See how I set my tea leaves on a little dish? I can totally re-steep this 5 or 6 times. Tea bags are good for 2 to 3 re-steeps. But you just take them out and let them sit to the side before you re-brew it. They're totally reusable. The tea leaves expand, they'll take on a slightly different flavor. When I re-steep these, it'll, instead of being super, super fragrant, everything will just go into a slightly different, a little stronger flavor, less on the orange, more on the tea. Q Cat says they follow my method of cooking as well, just throwing stuff together. So let's scoop some on here. I think that's probably too much. And I just have my griddle. It's on middle. I used a non-stick. I was going to put some butter down because I expect these to be fragile, but I forgot. So let's do one with some butter down on there and one without. And to see which way it works better. Whoops. And you just want to leave that there and let it sit, because if you fool around with it, that's the death for pancakes. And let's throw a second one. Maybe a third one. I'm making small pancakes, and let's just see what happens. They seem to be all right. They're almost like corn cake texture. So, but I try to make them like sausage patty sized, so they have a chance to, you know, be like, they can be like little sandwiches, all of that fun stuff. Now, one thing to note with coconut flour, there's the temptation to eat a large stack, especially when you make little ones like I am. Don't do that, because coconut flour is super high in fiber. It will expand in your stomach and you'll wind up overfull, and that's really unpleasant. Let's do a fourth one. And they take long to cook, so we're going to leave these for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I'm just going to watch them sort of get a little bit of the liquidiness to them. And once they look like they've got some bubbles and are ready, and I can actually get my spatula under them, we'll give it a flip. So I've got 4 of them there, and then we'll just set this aside. Get my paper towel. Let's see what we've got here. Hunger He says, well, we are watching a cooking show, so noise is expected. Sure, but I know, I realize it, but it's just a me thing. Let's see. And Exchange Student 2 says they normally eat lunch and dinner, but with the doggy vacation, they've been doing breakfast and lunch. I eat 2 meals. I don't know how to label them, because I guess it's breakfast and dinner. Whatever the meal is that they call, that's like at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's what I have. Oh, an exchange student too says she just started making brown butter bites. Ooh, they're so addicting. So yeah, I do think that for me the brown butter bites were a little bit too tasty, and so like I know there's nothing wrong with them, but also I would like to eat too many of them, and then I don't want other food, and I feel like other foods should have some hello, protein may need some priority, so they're a special occasion treat. All right, so this weekend, and we are definitely tired. We had a party up in Cincinnati. I was not hosting, I was attending. And they made prime rib. Oh my God. It was fantastic. And they cut great big old thick slices. Let me tell you, I ate the whole slice, as did most other people. It was very generous. And then later, as it was sitting on the table all cold, you know, people would periodically go and cut like a little piece off. And I was like, well, they can't just leave a partial slice on the platter there like that. And I cut a piece off and ate it. And then I just reached over, picked it up, and took the rest and went on my merry way. And let me tell you, I have zero regrets. And Hunger, he says with his MS, he's found that he feels better when he eats 3 meals a day plus an occasional snack. You know what? Everybody is different, and yeah, that self-experimentation to find out what works best for you is fantastic. I know these aren't ready, so why can I not resist touching it? By the way, I'm like really, really terrible at pancake flipping, so just so you know, expect some failure. They're actually just slipping around here. They are ready. I have to touch another one. All right. Boom, perfection. It looks delightful. Let's see. Put this one second. Ah! The griddle's too slippery. They're escaping. Ah. I'll give this one a little extra second here. So, they look great. I am not sad at all. We'll have to let them, and of course, that's the hard part, is leaving stuff sit. It just, it's so, you so much want it to sit, and you want to fiddle with stuff to check it, and it's so important, no matter, whenever you make pancakes, to leave it out. And Carrie says I'm flipping out. You know what? I certainly am. Oh, exchange student 2 is doing carnivore and being kind of grossed out by food. Oh, are you getting meat aversion? That's a thing that can happen, or is it all food in general? And 22Q categories, they find it hard to not want to flip the pancakes. Yep. So let's see. Hofanet says she wishes the person that she works with who has MS would be willing to try a different way of eating, but she's not ready to let go of her regular food plan. And so everything is just kind of wears down. Yeah, that happens. And MS is so hard to deal with and perfect. And then Hoofenix is trying to jinx me there by saying the pancake flipping is perfect. Let's see. Actually, it's working out. Woo! Nice. I'm super pleased with how attractive they are. I'm going to bring them up close for you guys to see. But like, I'm positively salivating because I am so hungry. Oh yeah, I was telling you. So we went to this party last night. And the prime rib was phenomenal. I took my olives and my pickles and my cheese platter. And I was thrilled because people actually ate quite a large quantity of the olives. Now, I brought a lot back, but I took a lot. But people ate them, and people ate the cheese. You guys, it had the aged Gouda, and a lot of that got eaten. It had, I had 6 cheeses on there. One of those cheeses was the Boursin, which, as you all know, is amazing. But I also had, that coastal cheddar, you guys. You know, the coastal cheddar that I freaking adore. And for whatever reason, people didn't eat much of that. I was like, that was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Of all the things to not eat a lot of, you guys, I'm going to get a small plate. I have a big plate, but I don't want to eat that many pancakes. I want pancakes for tomorrow is what I really want. So, I'm going to give it a little more time. It's a little pale still. But as you can see, they're obviously the right texture. They're coming out nicely. So, it's hard to wait though. We had, let's see, and Exchange Student 2 says yes, thinks meat aversion, even beef lamb bison, which is their favorite. Fish seems good, so mostly doing salmon. So I saw, and I don't know if it will work for you, but Steak and Butter Gal says that when she gets meat aversion, she can eat the meat if she does it more hot pot style. So either broth or water, and having the meat very thin, wafer thin sliced, and then just cooking it off that way. And the difference in the cook and the texture helps her work through the meat aversion. But also, if it's just bothering you, definitely try going a little bit, I know this is going to sound weird, a little bit leaner and more with like a little bit of the butter to help it go down. But also, if you're just having aversion, as long as you're not like ravenous, don't worry about it and don't eat. Hey, Crafty and Carnivores, thanks for joining us. All right, here we go, pancakes. And let me just get my container here for the extras. I'm gonna have 2. So let me tear one of these open so you can see the texture, and I'm coming around. I say that, except for I don't know that I'm being successful here. So you can see them up close, and you can see the light and fluffy texture in there. And I didn't make them too dry, so that's a bonus. They are very hot, so I really want to quit touching them. I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest of these on the griddle. The gelatin actually helps a lot for texture with these kind of things. So just so you are aware, that's like an important ingredient to not leave out. Everything else can be kind of optional. And I do have to kind of pat it into the pancake-ish shape. So, like I said, scoopable versus pour. And it looks like we're going to make about 8 pancakes, which is nice. That'll be 3 days. So tomorrow I'll have pancakes and sausage, because I was able to take some sausage from the hotel in a container. There we go. All right. So the next few days of eating is going to be super easy for me because I've got cheese, olives, I've got some sliced roast beef, these pancakes and sausage. Oops, sorry for that clatter, folks. And from there, the next thing you could do is you can either have some syrup on it if you like syrup. I just like some butter, so I'm having butter. And not the small amount of butter. Well, maybe on that one. I will say, I ate some sugar-free syrup with my butter. So I'm putting butter on them. And let's... They're a winner. They're a winner. They definitely taste a lot like they do taste like corn cakes a little bit. All right, I'm keeping this recipe. And then Air Fried Annie says she wants to add some OOO flavor drops because she has a yellow sponge cake flavor. That might be interesting. I just like that these can go either way. Let's see. Oh, and Carrie says he went in and did early cleaning at the church before service. It was 46 degrees and then went to being into the 70s when he got to church later in the day. Wow, that is a huge change. And Hoofnit says she grew up eating pancakes for dinner too. No such thing as breakfast food in our house. The best thing I ever did was do away with certain foods belong to certain times of the day. I eat what food I want at what time of the day. So if my pancakes are good for dinner, then I have them for dinner. If they are calling me in the morning for breakfast, then so be it. I forget which order I put these on, and my fingers keep getting dirty. Hoofnit's asking what kind of griddle I have. This is actually my electric crepe maker. So I use these for my crepe wraps most of the time, but it's perfect for this application. I'm super pleased with it, and it was dirt cheap. So I won't feel bad if it doesn't last that long. But I think it's fantastic. So, delightful. And, you know, I had a fork. I swear. I don't know what's the matter with me. Fortunately, I'm just right here, and I've resolved my fork deficiency. But yeah, so the griddle, I just got it on Amazon. It's an electric crepe maker, and I'm in love with it. Oh yeah, these pancakes are a keeper recipe. They taste great. Now they do have a bit of like a cornmeal texture because it is coconut flour. So be aware of that. But I think this could be easily very flexible for a lot of things. I'm going to have to test this batter out in the waffle maker. Let's see. Okay, let's see, some hellos back and forth. And Airfryer Annie says sometimes she wants sweet pancakes and other times straight butter, depends on the mood. Yeah, same. But, and Carrie says he thought this was a crepe maker. Yep. And we've used it before for making crepes. The ones that are just eggs and gelatin. That's actually the best one so far. But, I am shocked that I have not destroyed any one of these yet, so very happy. And you can see now that they've sat, they didn't shrink down a whole bunch, just a little bit. They're still fluffy texture. So tomorrow I'll let you guys know, how they warm up, because I will just stick them into the air fryer on reheat. So I'm pleased. I'm keeping it. I think this might become my go-to pancake recipe. Let's see. Oh, and Rickwin says blueberries would be good. Ooh. Oh, I wish that I had thought of that sooner, because that's the other thing I took from the hotel breakfast was I brought myself home a to-go cup of blueberries. They're really good. So, oh, and Carrie says eggs and gelatin would be a carnivore option. They are, and they're great. I don't mind that the crepes are a bit eggy when I use the whole egg, but if you do mind them being eggy, you can use just the egg whites and the gelatin. I will say that they do tend to be a bit more fiddly to cook when it's just the egg whites. But they still work, it's just more fiddly. Quite frankly, I don't mind a little bit of egg flavor, so I use the whole eggs. And they are perfect for me. I like them in many ways. And for carnivore, you could make those egg crepes, and then because carnivore allows some dairy, so you can also add some plain old whipped cream on top of them, and that helps out really nice. Ooh, Exchange Student 2 got eggs on sale, 5 dozen for $9. That's phenomenal. Air Fried Auntie says hotel shopping's the best. It was. Though I was also very hungry this morning, and when I went down there, I was getting sausages, and then I went back down again and got some more, and she said, go ahead and take all you want. I can make some more. Like, then I felt like mildly like ashamed at how many sausages I was taking, because then I couldn't eat them all and had to bring some home. And I was like, well, but you know what? I know it's free breakfast, but technically that free breakfast is built into the cost. So a few sausages, you know, fine. Throw those right into my container. And boom. I let them cool before I put the lid. Turn off my griddle. And once that cools down, I just give it a nice little wipe and we're all set. How awesome is that? Mm. And Exchange 22 says, of course we all prefer pasture raised and panda massage, but when your local layers haven't been laying, you have one egg, you do what you have to. Exactly. You know what? I recognize that there are higher quality ingredients for some things, but there are some times when it's just not possible. And not everybody can afford the bougiest of the bougie foods, so you make do and whatever you need. And the warden says exactly, they say the same thing for the cruises. The food is part of the cruise price. And Air Fry Nanny points out that also a lot of people don't eat the free breakfast at all because they sleep till 11 and then scramble for the noon checkout. That's very true. I'll also tell you the other thing that they had. I was super excited because they had cottage cheese, full fat cottage cheese. So I ate some of that too with my sausages. I mean, not with them, after my sausages, so. And 22Q Cat says, she loves quick and easy meals like this. They taste good too. Yeah. Now that I've decided this is a good go-to recipe, I can experiment a little bit, like having some blueberries, or what I actually like is bacon in my pancakes. I think some bacon crumbles in there would be spectacular. Right, and Air Fry Nanny says she likes good tasting eggs, so she doesn't mind spending more on the farm fresh eggs as she gets delivered and spending less in other places. Sure, here the good farm eggs are not always available, and there have been a few times when they've been out of stock in all of our local groceries. So the choice is the choice. It's don't have any eggs, which is not an option for me. I eat eggs every single day. I love eggs, and they're very good for me. So, so if I have to buy lesser eggs, I buy lesser eggs. Oh, and Carrie's got a frame for his computer certificate, so he can put it on the frame this morning. Oh, fantastic. That's good news. So let's see. And Rickman says coffee and eggs are their big expenditure. The rest he can look for sales. I do buy bougie eggs because if I have my druthers, I will get from the farm, but right now the chickens haven't been laying as much, and one of the places I used to get them reduced their flock, so they aren't producing as many. If I can't get them straight from the farm, then Happy Eggs are my next favorite, followed by Nellie's, then Pete and Pete and Walensky. So those are my tier of eggs. After that, they're all the same to me, and it doesn't matter. So if all of my favorite eggs are out of stock, then just plain old generic Costco eggs it is. And I don't mind that, especially if I'm using them in recipes or making crepes or things like that. So I kind of have like tiers of eggs in my fridge too. Like, oh, these are the eggs that can be mixed into whatever. They can make my pancakes, my meatloaf, my whatever. But these eggs that were the $8 Amber specialty Happy Eggs, those eggs are only for poached or fried. So I have my quirks there when it comes to the eggs. And Hoofnett says that they also eat eggs in large, so they bargain shop. So there was a while when the free eggs at Sam's were cheaper than the regular eggs. So yeah. And Hungry Heath says the same. His favorite eggs are the ones that are on sale. So like I said, I have favorites, but also I have limits on my wallet, and stores have limits on their availability. So. Oh, I'm gonna do an experiment. I don't know if I'm gonna try to record it or not. But a friend of mine posted today a link saying, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I said, "I don't know. I think we have to try it." And that is that he found hot sauce preserved eggs that don't solidify, so they become like a jam. So you would preserve the eggs in the hot sauce. Well, not eggs, egg yolks. Preserved egg yolks in the hot sauce. And then you would put them, so then you would have the hot sauce preserved egg yolks, and you bust it and smear it onto your, that would be good on these pancakes. If it's good. I'm not going to do like a gigantic tray like they showed in the video, but I think I might be willing to waste 3 egg yolks and half a bottle of like some generic hot sauce, not good hot sauce, like just get my like a daily hot sauce, a Cholula or something, and give it a try. So cross your fingers. Let's see how it goes. And Exchange Student 2 says if she's bougie, she wants to eat duck breast. Ooh. Yeah, I haven't seen duck breast in a while, but that does sound fantastic. I love well-cooked duck breast. I'm willing to pay the right price for it to have it done proper in a good high-end restaurant too. And Hungry Heath says it was like he used to tell other folks that his favorite beer was free and free light. So I've definitely been there too. And Airfry Nanny says later, if we look in the Hungry Horde headquarters Facebook group, she's posted her favorite egg commercial. I will definitely check that out. So what else we got going on? So I was going to tell you also, after this party that we went to, we went back to the hotel room and crashed out. You guys, you know I go to bed at like 8 o'clock on a normal night. But we were out until like 11, and then we had to go back to the hotel. And I was awake at like 6 o'clock this morning again. So I don't know what the heck. I'm definitely tired now. But, so this morning, we were like, we should just head home. And I was like, but wait, my friends still want to do more things. Let's go to IKEA together. And I don't know what we were doing, but we spent hours at the IKEA. Also, one of our friends had way too much to drink and was feeling very, very poorly. So I gave him an emergency Zip Fizz, which he's really resisted drinking, and I hope he finally drank it. But you guys, you know, we're used to Zip Fizz and how it tastes, but somebody who doesn't have electrolytes and Zip Fizz on the regular, they don't taste great. So he was highly resistant. But other people at the table knew about Zip Fizz, and like the whole table was like, listen, you need to drink that Zip Fizz. It has everything that you need to feel better. So I was like, he probably felt very ganged up on, but let's face it. And Carrie says I should make a cheese pancake. You know, as I eat this, I think that these would be good to take in a savory bent with like cheese and jalapeno into the batter. I'm willing to try it out. I feel like there's endless possibilities here. You could put scallions in there too. That sounds great. Jalapenos, scallions in this pancake batter, maybe with some bacon bits. Now I've gone crazy. Exchange Student 2 says she's only used Zip Fizz to make gummies with. Oh, that's a good idea. And Renee says she hasn't tried since she loves Relight, oh, I'm sorry, that's not Renee. Miss Perfectly Imperfect Keto says she hasn't tried them since she loves Relight, but her hubby loves Zip Fizz. Yeah, so I will say I did have one element, but we decided to give him the Zip Fizz because we thought that the Zip Fizz had the better chance of being loved by a normie who with a super bad hangover. And let me just tell you, having been there, man, I was feeling for him. And he was younger than us, so also all my mom vibes were just like, man, I want to take this poor dude and give him like one big old hug. But, you know, one big old hug probably make him yak on me, so we won't do that. But we got him all home, and you got to give it to him, though. Hungover, he trooped through the IKEA. The entire IKEA, all of the floors, back and forth with everybody really slow moseying through all the displays. I'm just saying that's some toughness. So. Oh, and Susie's never had a Zip Fizz, and neither has Crafty and Carnivore-ish. I'll say they're not necessarily your best option because they do have more carbs than your average electrolyte drink. But I am chronically deficient in B12 and also always low in salt, so I do like elements. But if I'm struggling with my B12, you guys, I hate B12 shots. I hate them so much that I will sacrifice my carbs and drink more Zip Fizz and more Zip Fizz to not have the shot. Because when they give you to them, it burns, it hurts, and I hate it. So that's my motivation for Zip Fizz. You know, we all have to have our whys for certain things. But yeah, so it was an awesome weekend. We saw so many people and it's just such a very positive kind of event. Alcohol aside, it was very uplifting, and I really loved seeing everybody. So I really loved that we also then went to IKEA as a follow-up the next day. So, let's see. Oh, and Air Fried Annie said she had a Zip Fizz at Keto Chow when she was there a couple years ago. All right, I kind of lost words for a second there. And actually, it's really close to time to say goodnight. Does anybody else have any last questions? Any more questions about the Shumei tea or teas in general? And any other thoughts or ideas on pancakes? Because, you know, now that I have a couple days worth, very open to it. Exchange Student 2 says their favorite electrolyte is the element watermelon. And second, the mango chili one. Ooh, yeah, the watermelon is my favorite too. But I really do like all of them. The element watermelon, the citrus, the orange, the raspberry. The only ones I don't like is the chocolate. And I have tried it in coffee. I have tried it with other hot chocolate. I just don't like it. So, you know, to each our own. And hey, and yeah. No, thanks for coming, Mike. I'm glad that you got to ask some questions. Feel free to hit me up. So, an Exchange Student 2 will go back and do some replay. Hit that like button on your way out. Make sure that you give the channel a little bit of love. It's good for our metrics. And I will see you guys all tomorrow-ish. You know, at least on Facebook. So, I'll see you all later. Have a great night. Bye-bye.